Great. We'll let everybody say hello. Everybody wave over.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Our computer is set up at a weird space from where the screen is, so you'll see lots of sides of their heads today while they're watching. We gave you a glowing recommendation. We have some Summer Institute alum here. Pam and Nicole
Hey, guys.
are here, but we and Nancy back there, yes. So we have a great crowd of about 20 teachers from coastal South Carolina, and they are excited to lunch and learn with you.
Nice. Nice. So I'm here. Yay. So my name is Daisha, and I have been affectionately given the name of Fairy Grandmother. I will go ahead and put it out there right now that writing grants is fun. It's great. It's not my passion. I will tell you how this came about real quick. When I went to the Discovery Education Summer Institute in Bozeman, Montana, at the very last day we had something called an unconference. And someone said, I want to know more about grants. And so another friend that had met there said, wait a minute, this Daisha person from North Carolina has written some and been successful. So I hung out at an unconference all day long and helped people write grants. And that's sort of where this thing came from. So I'm going to share just a little bit with you and then let you ask some questions, and then maybe we can hook up via Twitter or email, and I can help you write some grants. I'm going to try to share my screen, Kelly, so tell me if this works. So give me a second. I want to share my desktop, and is it doing anything?
I think so, because it's showing us. We're seeing your screen of us. We're kind of like that painting where it keeps looking deeper and deeper and deeper into things.
Do you see this
Yes,
PowerPoint?
We got it.
Yes. Okay, so I thought, because I hate being on camera, that I'd go ahead and share this. So for those of you that were there at the Institute, you've seen most of this, and you can probably be my helpers. At any time, if you can't see this, Kelly, just yell out, because I can't see any of you now. So it's like I'm just talking to a screen. If someone walks into this office, they're going to have me committed. But, you know, whatever. So here we go. So I think it's real important that teachers be able to find the things they want for their classrooms. About 7 years ago, I was sitting on the couch at home with my husband, and he said, honey, I found a way for us to get more money into your classroom. And I said, okay. And he said, there's something out here called Donors Choose, and I want you to look into it. And I said, okay. He goes, really? I really want us to look into it, so maybe like we can have a Christmas this year with our kids. So I took his, every once in a while y'all have to yell out or burp or something, so just let me know you're there, okay? Or I'll just talking. So I looked into this Donors Choose sort of thing and immediately got money back. Within 2 weeks, I got things I needed for the classroom, so I was pretty much hooked. So there are 4 different grants that I work with, and Kelly can upload this document into some kind of file for you guys to have a copy of, so don't worry about taking notes or anything like that. So the 4 that we're going to talk about, one is federal grants. Now, the caveat that I give with this is federal grants are extremely hard to write, and there's a lot of monitoring on their part and your part if you were to receive one of these grants. I don't like that. I just want people to give me a check and let me spend it. However, federal grants are good. In the last year, I've received a HUD grant and an NIH grant. The HUD grant was for $400,000 that we used in an after-school STEM program in 4 of my elementary schools. And the NIH was a grant I received in March, which was $1.25 million. That is going to some STEM designations in some of my schools, particularly for African American boys, which is a subgroup that we're far behind in our achievement gap, and then a couple of clubs for STEM for girls. So I don't want to discourage you from writing federal grants, but you must have lots of patience, lots of proofreaders, and not care that people are looking over your shoulders all the time. Again, when we post this to whatever website that Kelly wants to put this up on, these are hyperlinked, so you can go in there. The next grants that we're going to talk about are foundation grants. Now, several of the foundation grants we're looking at right now are only North Carolina, but they have similar partners in South Carolina. So the first one is the NSTA. There are several grants on there that you can get for stipends to attend national conferences. And then they also have the Toyota Tapestry Grant, which is about $25,000. And I'm pretty sure, Kelly, you can check me on this, that there would be a South Carolina NSTA?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll have information.
Association.
Okay. Excellent. Another two grants that I work with and that I think that you would be able to find counterparts for is Burroughs Wellcome, which is a pharmaceutical medical research company in North Carolina, and the Golden Leaf Foundation. If you, at the Summer Institute, we did some searching for Burroughs Wellcome type grants, and we found them in 47 states. There were some type of GlaxoSmithKline or Lee Pharmaceuticals or some medical researchers in almost every state where you can write for STEM grants. And then the Golden Leaf is an organization where the best way to describe it is if I smoked and if I died of lung cancer, my family could sue, and if they got money back and they didn't want it, they can put it into a fund, and then it can go to education. So I'm sure that there's a foundation like that in South Carolina too. But let me get you to where the biggest bang for your buck's going to be. So corporate grants are some of the best things that you can find. At the end of this presentation, I have like a cheat sheet that will tell you how much money you can get from different types of grants. But corporate grants like Walmart, Lowe's, Target, and Home Depot, just to name a few, are very good for you to get those grants that you want from $2,500 to $5,000 or $5,000 to $25,000. So Walmart has two different grants. In most Walmarts across the country, if you take your ID tag, your very sad face, and your story about how poor you are as a teacher, you can usually walk to the back of a Walmart into the layaway department, tell the man sitting there who's not getting paid enough, but is probably 80 years old and just working to look at pretty women, tell him that you are a poor teacher and you need paper. You have no paper in your classroom. More often than not, I walk out with a $100 gift card each time. So if you want something small like that, I would encourage you to do the walk to the back of the room where the layaway is and ask for, just tell them that you're looking for any kind of donation. If you want to go a little bit higher than that, from about $250 to $2,500, Walmart now has a home foundation grant that you can apply for. The link is here. You might want to put this down on paper because I didn't put this anywhere. You want to apply for the Community Foundation Grant for Walmart. It used to go to $5,000, but in July it moved down to $2,500. But this is an online grant, very simple. You can write it in 20 minutes, asking a Walmart for money. Now, every Walmart in the world has this grant at their store, and they usually award several of these grants at a time. So if you guys are in South Carolina now, go ahead and divide up the Walmarts and decide which one you're going to apply for, because if you all apply for store 2301, there's going to be some knockdown, drag-out fights, I'm pretty sure. Now, the other thing about when you apply for Walmart, I would go meet the manager. Say, I really appreciate what you do for the community, and I'm applying for this grant, and just want to put a face to it. Now, they have nothing to do with that grant, but when corporate sends them a message and says, hey, I've got a teacher, and she's at this school, and she's applied for $4,400, and we're going to award it to her, if they can put a face to that, they may can put a little word in for you. Walmart also has grants up to $100,000. Those are state grants, and you have to work with another foundation in your state to get those. So a couple foundations I would hook up with, and this is going to sound really weird, but there's archery associations, bow and arrow, Davy Crockett sort of thing, in every state, and you can sign up with them to bring archery to your school. Hold on, I'm not saying we should kill people. or climbing walls or anything PE related. So I would look for that particular hookup there. Okay, so let's go to Lowe's real quick. So Lowe's has 2 grants. One of them is going to open August 1st. So you need to get ready for this one. This is the Toolbox for Education grant. This is going to award you anywhere up to $5,000 for anything you want for your school. It is not just for outdoor gardens. A lot of people think they're just looking for, community gardens or outdoor safe places. They are looking for that, but they also will fund iPads for reading gardens. They will fund sewing machines to help teach your kids how to sew and connect with senior citizens in the community, to build partnerships for bringing back the old crafts. And the reason I know that is I've gotten that one several times. Lowe's also has a up to $100,000 grant to do outdoor building, gazebos, picnic shelters, picnic tables in reading areas, garden, compost stations. So that's a good one to look at. The one for Lowe's charitable is open now. The one for Toolbox won't open to August 1st. Kelly, am I still doing okay? Everybody still there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So Target has 3. Anyone there, and you'll have to yell out, ever received a field trip grant from Target? Oh, that's really sad. So they have field trip grants that you can apply for twice a year, up to $700 on the Target site. They also have a literacy grant that you can apply for $2,500, and a music, art, and drama grant that you can apply for. All 3 of those are available at different times of the year. And then
art one. How much? I know the literacy was $25. How about the music, art, and drama?
So that one goes up to $2,500 also. And that one's a really cool one. And from what I understand, people aren't tapping into that one as quickly. So that might be a good one to do. And you don't have to be a music, art, drama teacher. We're all that when we're in the classroom, especially for an elementary. Good question. Who said that? Who asked that?
Hey, I'm an avid.
Okay, Kelly, she deserves an award. Give her some swag or something. Okay. So Home Depot is another great place to get grants. The way I got hooked up with Home Depot is I ran to Lowe's one day because I needed 50 feet of gutters to do a 50-foot banana split party with some kids. Okay, I don't understand it, but that's what we needed. And he said no. He just looked at me and said, I can't do that. He was a new manager and obviously had no idea who I was. Because I go and beg all the time. So he said no, so I kept my dejected face on and walked across the street to Home Depot in tears, saying, I know what I was going to do. I had promised these kids this banana split party, and they had met their goals. And he said, well, why didn't you get it at Lowe's? And I said, because he wouldn't let me have it, and he was very mean to me. And so I got 100 feet of guttering from Home Depot without charge. And then he hooked me up with their Home Depot grant that's online, which is up to $10,000. Okay? So let's keep going. So Donors Choose is where I've gotten not as much money as federal grants, but the most fun I've had was with DonorsChoose.org. Kelly, just take a little poll by having them raise their hand if they've ever used Donors Choose before.
Looks like about half.
Excellent. Well, it does work, and my personal self, as a teacher in a classroom, I have received over $152,000 from Donors Choose, just for me. I mean, not like a new house or anything, but softball equipment and smart boards, and iPads weren't even out very much when I first started doing this, and books and aquariums. One time sometimes I just did it for fun, like I really didn't need anything, but I would just put things on there to see if it were to happen. And so one day, my principal called down and says, Daisha, you got a Donors Choose. And I said, excellent. And she says, no, Daisha, you need to come up here. I said, well, just send it down. She said, oh, God, no, you have to come up here. And I had forgotten that I had asked for 25 aquariums with geckos and chameleon kind of things in them. So I had 25 aquariums up front with all this live product, these little reptiles running around everywhere. So I gave every teacher in my school one of those in the classroom. And I tell you that just to say there's so much you can get with Donors Choose. And in the last 4 months, they have just added Amazon as one of their vendors. So the sky's the limit on Donors Choose. If you're not on Donors Choose, before we leave, I can help you get signed up on that today. At the Summer Institute this summer in Nashville, we had a couple of grant writing sessions, and total of with all the late night ones and the ones during the day, we've written for close to $100,000, and that's just been about 2.5 weeks ago, and we're already getting feedback on that. We're already getting some of these grants funded, so it is a great place to go. I'm going to just let you look at this for a second. This is 2 full pages. There's the other one of Donors Choose that have been fully funded that with our Den Stars in just the last 6 months. Now, this is not even complete because Jessie Anderson from Georgia just got hers funded, and we have several others that are on the way to get theirs funded. So this is a great place to get money quickly. And for those of you that don't know Donors Choose, you go in, you fill up a shopping cart, girls. Is there any men there?
Just one.
Close your ears. It is so good. It's like better than having a husband sometimes because you just fill up the shopping cart and you don't have to pay for it. Someone else does that. So this is Lisa Anderson, and I'm not sure where Lisa's from. Do you know, Kelly?
No.
She was in Burlington, Vermont. She got the Lowe's grant. Now notice that she had received $4,730. Here's a point of information that's real critical. If they are going to give you $5,000, never ask for the full amount. I'm not sure if it's just psychological or what, but it seems like people that ask for the full amount, all the way to $5,000, never get it because they look a little bit too eager. So we kind of give them an amount with without being the full amount. Now, for Lowe's and Walmart and Target and Home Depot, they just write you a check. Well, they write your school a check. They used to write you a check, and it messed up with taxes. They just send a check. So if you decide, or if you say, I was going to buy 10 iPads, and then you get the check and say, oh, no, I need 14 sewing machines, you can do that. I wouldn't do it a lot, but I'm just saying, you get the money, and they don't do a checkup on it, okay? Now, you can't spend it on yourself because that's against the law. Please don't do that. So the total amount of money that we've received within the Den and within my teachers and so is about $10 million. So I promise you that if you want things in your classroom and you don't have your own funds to pay for it, that you can get a grant written. So here's the tips for you. And you're going to want to put it out on social media. That's a great way to get things funded. The other day we tweeted out to Katie Couric, Will I Am, and that weird guy that just won, what did he win? Survivor maybe. And we had several funded within an hour because if they'll pick up your retweets, then it's going out to millions of people. Let's see. That was fast. So here's how we decide in our school system what we're going to get. Our teachers really get into this whole thing of engage, inspire, expect it for them, where they talk to their kids about, this is what I have to teach you. What do you want to know? So these are the things our kids wanted to know in 5th grade in Durham Public Schools based on a force and motion standard. So when they told us this is what they wanted to know, and this was the meeting where it happened, we got together, and this is how we decided what we were going to get from a Walmart grant. We wanted Mindstorms, Force and Motion probes, and craft supplies. We wrote this in March when this little meeting took place, and we got the check the end of May. And these are our kids using some of these activities. So this is the sheet that will be the best thing that you've done today with me because it's just all I have. But this is the sheet that you're going to want to look at, so when you want to go out and write grants, this will tell you where to go. If you only want $300, you don't want to write a Lowe's grant. don't waste your time on that one. You want to go straight to Donors Choose for this. Very few things are not on Donors Choose. And let's see, the bullet that talks about Verizon, Mitsubishi, or Honda, those are also great places to write for. I've probably gotten 1 or 2 each from them, but not as much as the other places. So I'm going to try to switch back now. If I do this and unshare, can you see me again?
You're back!
Yay! And I wore a new shirt and everything. Okay, so any questions from people? I talk really fast, I know, but I have lots to say, and sometimes people cut me off, so I've got to get it in as quickly as possible. So does anybody have any questions or concerns, or did y'all just start right now at 12 o'clock?
We did.
So you can't be tired.
I filled them up with yummy food.
Yay. So
I do want to add, one of the things that I've heard from Daisha a bunch of times that she actually didn't mention this time is one of the great tips for grant writing is you never ask for stuff. Yeah. You always, people don't fund stuff. People fund ideas. They fund aspirational places where kids are going to go. Right. Now, you need stuff to get there, but that's not really what they're funding, right? They're funding an experience. They're funding access to an idea.
Right.
So if you're writing your grants, think about what's that overarching thing that you want to give your kids. Because for us, we don't want to give them stuff. We want to give them an experience. And then think about what are you going to need to get there. And for me, when I kind of wrapped my head around that, that helped me tremendously with my grant writing because I could draw people in to this place I wanted to go. And then they're like, yeah, I want kids to get there. What do you need? Which is entirely different than me going, I need this stuff.
Right. So we used to have a lot of places that would fund technology, and now they'll tell you they're not going to fund technology anymore. But the bottom line is they'll fund what you need to get them to that place. So anything you can do with global diversity or experiences or connections will work. And also your title. In most of the grants, you can't put your own title. They just title it for you, F39217-. But in Donors Choose, it's the title that really gets people to stop and look at your grant. So someone the other day wanted Makey Makey kits. If you haven't played with Makey Makey kits yet, it is a way to use Arduino boards to make a banana play a computer. So it's very, very cool, except if you take them through the plane terminal security thing, and then they'll take you into a room and frisk you down. But other than that, I got on the plane and it was fine. So about 10 teachers wanted those this summer, so we had to come up with 10 different ways to ask for having kids make things to create or to explore their passion so they could be the next Bill Gates or someone like that. So she's right. They don't fund stuff, they fund people. Good job, Callie. I'll pay you later for remembering that.
Thank you. Do y'all have any questions for her?
My only question is, Daisha, for those of us inexperienced with the grant writing, not that I want to actually replicate what someone else said, but I don't even know how to really start. I mean, I know that Kelly said you start with an idea of where you want the kids to be or what kind of experience you want them to have. But then when you go from there, is there any sort of guidance on what kind of wording you would actually use, or?
So here is, what is your name?
I'm Cece.
Hey, Cece. So here's my thing. Are there about 20 people there, Kelly?
Yes, just about.
Right. So this is a 2-day, one-time offer because school is starting back to me. If you are interested in doing a Donors Choose, or let's stick to Donors Choose right now. If you're interested in that and you have an idea of what you want, if you'll go ahead and set up your account and then tweet me at @Daisha92.
Okay.
Or email, and Kelly, you can put this up for them, teachingwithstyle09@gmail.com. I will help you write your first one. And the reason I will do that is because once you get your first one funded, it is very addicting. Okay. And it's not fattening. If you can get that up, I can do it on the chat window. Is that coming up there?
Yep, I just put it up there.
Okay, excellent. So I will be glad to help with that. I just got back from D.C. this weekend. My husband took me to see Billy Joel. Oh, I love him. And on the way there and on the way back, all I did was write grants.
Wait, you love Billy Joel or your husband?
Well, you know, you have to do what you got to do. So, so I said, Steve, this is the best way for me to write grants. So when I need to do this, will you just drive me around town? And he said, sure. So I will be glad to, and the reason I say the next 2 days, if you can go ahead and get an account set up with Donors Choose, it's not hard, it's donorschoose.org, and set up an account, very easy. Now, are you all public schools?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so right now Donors Choose doesn't do private, and I hate them. We're working on that. And but get an account set up, and then shoot me an email. And let's don't do Twitter because there's not enough spaces there. Send me an email. Say this is what I want for my classroom. I'll correspond back. It takes me about 10 minutes to write a grant for Donors Choose.
Yeah.
If I'm slow.
And the other thing is, the Donors Choose grants are open in public. So you can always go in and look at other people's grants that they have proposed out there and go, okay, you know, just to get an idea of what it looks like. And I know several of us have written Donors Choose grants too. So that's a great way to even just connect with some of the folks in your district and go, gosh, how did you get that funded?
Our district is now, if it's anything technology that's going to use the bandwidth, we have to do a separate proposal to our district. We had some focus money in the school year, and in order to spend it on what we wanted, we had to do a lot of paperwork within our district. So if you are thinking about doing anything with technology, and Art and Georgia too, keep that in mind that we have to jump through.
But you're talking about web-based technology, right? That would be, but like makey kits or something like that, you're good because those don't hop on the network. So, you know, Pam is a great go-to person, right? If you're not sure whether or not is just that question of does this fall in this category or would this fall kind of in that free and clear category? So.
Right, and Pam, you're right, and that's happening across the country now too, because people don't, well, the tech people don't want you putting things in there that are going to mess up their systems. So I would encourage you, first of all, though, to get something, you know, $400 or less. Yeah. Donors Choose assigns points. So as a new person, you'll always have 3 points that you'll start with, and I would get books or Maker Faire kits or I don't know. There's so many things on there that you can get. And Kelly was very nice. She said, look at other people's and, you know, get ideas. I said, look at other people's and copy paste. You know, God put a copy paste button on the computer for a reason. And I'm going to be going to jail anyway, probably later on in my life for making too many copies on the copy machine. So while I'm there, I will teach a robotics class. I don't care. So find those ideas. Hey, is this going out on the web? Okay, I totally retract that. Never copy paste. That's a good law. Okay.
You know, some of the things I got were like a set of board games for my class for inside recess rainy days because I wanted them to have something really constructive. I didn't write it so they can play with it on inside recess day. I wrote it for math and community and conversation and kind of all of that we did use in other times, but it was great on inside recess day because heaven knows we need something to do. Yeah. Maker fairs. Yeah, oh, we will talk about those in a little bit. Basically, that's where we give kids a chance to just make something. You know that moment, that awesome moment that a kid gets when they solve a problem they've been working on for a really long time, or they figure out how to Jimmy something MacGyver it is what we would always say, right? They figure out how to make it work and how that ability to stick with a problem until they can solve it then starts to translate into their schoolwork. So it's a great movement that's around. We had one at Summer Institute for the adults, and I think that was their favorite part of the whole week we were there. Norma, did you have something to add or ask?
With Donors Choose, they do have a tutorial.
Ah, they have
and basically copy and paste, but not literally copy and paste.
But make it, it's really form oriented too if you haven't done it before. You're not writing this giant abstract. It's literally answer this question, answer this question, answer this question. So it really guides you through the process in that kind of baby step way.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Deja, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay, this is Sarah speaking to you. I wrote a Lowe's Foundation grant a couple years ago asking for, we wanted to build an outside gazebo for the children to go into and do outside activities. And I also had help from the schools, the district's grant writer, but that particular one didn't get funded. Can I shoot it to you to look at?
Yes, and guys, let me, and grant writers are wonderful, and I adore them, and I would not want their job because that's all they do. But the most success I've had with grants is short and simple and to the point and passionate. And a lot of times grant writers get very involved with bigger words and things that are hard to understand. And people that are now, federal grants, that's a good thing to do because they're looking for that academia part of it. But the guys from Lowe's don't care. And if you start writing real big for them, they may not like it. Now, what you wrote is probably perfect, and it probably was just the wrong time of the year for it, but I would love to look at it and give you some pointers if I can. I'm not an expert, but for some reason I found a sugar daddy somewhere in the grant world, and I'm getting funded pretty quickly, so I would love to help you with that. And I would also encourage you, as soon as you write it, to go make immediate contact with that manager. You know, go up and buy, you know, a flange, I don't even know what that is, and a sponge and 2 nails, and say, hey, and by the way, I'm a teacher, and I would love, you know, just sort of start making those contacts now. I have never been turned away from a Lowe's person or Home Depot when I go in and take something to say, I know you're not supposed to do this, but can you cut this in 72 pieces? And usually if I just look really sad and poor, and look at me, I'm not, you know, I don't, if you saw the body, you would know. Okay, I'm not that. Okay, it's not like I'm going to flirt my way away with it, but there's just something about passion and relating that passion of what you do in the classroom and what you want to do with kids, and saying, if your child was in my classroom, this is what I would be able to do with them. So, yes, to that person, send it to me.
Another thing she says, if they ask you, do you want support from Lowe's, you recommended that we say yes. Even if
absolutely, if they
because Lowe's wants to make this a relationship thing, so even if you don't need them, find something for them to do. Yeah. So I got Peaceful Playgrounds. You ought to look that up. It's a wonderful organization, peacefulplaygrounds.com, I believe, where you paint on your
full playgrounds.
And I didn't really think about it, but I thought, yeah, y'all come on out and you can help us do it. Well, they sent out 75 workers on a Saturday, and they painted the entire playground. And while they were there, they fixed everything that was wrong with the outside of the school. So yes, you want to build relationships, even if it's just, I want you to come and sit down with my kids and listen to them read and tell you their dreams. So, and Home Depot is going to ask you that too, and Verizon, and Mitsubishi.
Do y'all have any other questions for Daisha?
Boeing does a thing that if you have 5 employees, they donate a certain amount of money back based on the hours at the school.
Nice.
So,
very cool.
And you guys probably have a wealth of information right there when I pop off of here in a minute that you can just sit down and share ways that you've gotten things. One of the things we do in our schools is we have a rocket racer contest. Well, I say we do it in our schools. I've been here a year, and I'm making them do it. Okay, so all 30 elementary schools, all the 5th grade classrooms build rocket racers. And then we have this huge competition within the school, and then we graph it, and then we Google Hangout, and then they go to each other's schools. And basically, it's just a car built out of a meat tray. And I'm not going to buy meat trays. That's stupid. So I go to all the grocery stores and places and take my little name tag in and say, hey, and they say we can't do it anymore. It's against FDA laws. But something about it's going to be going for meat and blood. You can't have it, but it hadn't been used yet. I don't understand that. So I say, oh, well, that's okay, but these kids just won't have an opportunity now because I have all but 50 of them, which is a lie. I have none of them. But so they say, okay, you can have 50. So then I just walk all over town and get stuff. Well, I drive. But you can do this and go in and use your your compassion and your passion for kids, and it should work. So share that out with everybody, or just run to Walmart and ask them for some meat trays before you go home.
Awesome. Well, we are going to wrap up. Geisha, you are amazing. Go eat
Love
some
you guys.
before you go back to your training.
Yes.
And we thank you. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Geisha. Thank you.
Bye.